Hey everybody, Dr. Dave Marcos here with a very brief message about how we can keep our headspace clear and stay on track. Currently, I'm seeing more and more patients that have concerns with anxiety, depression, insomnia, panic attacks, and this collective mix of emotional and cognitive deficits or impairments that would lead to poor decision making and exacerbating their response to the collective stress that we're all under. Every single one of us has had a life change in the last several months. In my own home, I've got 4 kids, and 2 of them have been off in college, and they had to come home because colleges got closed. And the other kids, now they're doing homeschooling, which is a whole new dynamic in the house and a lot of self-responsibility that they were unaccustomed to, and then management on the parental side to make sure that they're following through. And then the whole dynamic of having people around that weren't around previously, even though you love them. The impact that people have had, some with losing jobs, some with changing their pay scales, the social distancing that we've had, the emotional distancing that we've had, all of these things fall under this big umbrella called stress. And we respond to stress in different ways. A lot of it is learned behavior, and some of it is actually our own chemical response, and that has a lot to do with our fundamental nutrition and how we manage our sleep patterns and our exercise. Some of the things that I've talked about, but because I'm seeing more of this, I felt it important to just share a brief message to help you know that if you're feeling those things, that there are solutions. We need to realize that if we're reacting to our environment rather than responding, then you're probably going to drive your cortisol up. And when we live in a high cortisol state, our brain gets foggy. It throws our blood sugar off. It changes our demeanor and how we can think, and we start to make poor decisions. So I'm encouraging people to make sure that they are exercising daily. You got to get outside so that you can clear your headspace, get some endorphins, make sure that you're metabolizing the carbs that you're consuming, and make sure that you're getting adequate sleep at night. One of the worst things that we can do for ourselves at night is to carb out at night. Please don't do that. I've encouraged so many of my patients to understand the variable aspects of dietary shifts, and I'd be happy to help anybody with that so that they can understand that if they shift a little bit more towards a ketotic concept in the evening and consume their carbs more in the daytime when they're active and they're going to metabolize those, they're going to have a better outcome. There's a lot of things fundamentally that they need to be doing nutritionally and staying hydrated, so make sure you've got your adequate mineral load. Magnesium, for instance, that's a stress mineral. The adult body burns about 600 milligrams of that a day just at rest. And when we're under stress, you'll find that your shoulders get all tense, your circulation changes to your head and neck, and you think more poorly. When we start changing the dynamics of our muscle tone and how we're breathing and carrying ourselves, then you start to actually change how you're delivering oxygen to your own brain. And when you look at brain health and keeping yourself focused, glucose, ketones, and oxygen, those are some primary things that we all need to be aware of and how to regulate those. When you look at anxious patients, people that deal with anxiety and panic attacks, low O2 perfusion to their brain is consistently present in 90% of those cases. So just understanding how to breathe right, and that might sound silly, honestly it might, but I cannot tell you how many patients come in where I look at their O2 sats relative to their perfusion, and they're fully saturated, so they've got a lot of oxygen bound to their hemoglobin, but they're perfusing like 1%. They're just not delivering it to the system. And this has a lot to do with how they breathe. And it's not just breathing deeper. There's actually a timing process there and understanding your heart rate variability. So these are things that sometimes people just need to be coached on briefly so that they can go home and practice it. Because life stressors don't go away. And what we're all dealing with right now, that's going to go on for a long time. So we have to embrace the tools collectively so that we are empowered to deal with it appropriately. And then we need to reach out to those around us and help them do the same thing. And collectively, we can overcome literally anything. this is a wonderful country. It's a wonderful place to be. And we need to keep it that way with ourselves first, take that responsibility, learn those skills, implement them, and then share them with others. Have a great day. I hope this message is helpful.